this time, after the roasters have done, we have the roasting guest of honor gets to come up and say a few words. But hearing Major, I am reminded of Mary's roast during Major's roast, and it did go on, and something about some guy that kidnapped and raped and burned alive his victim, and it was just hilarious. So I think we'll dispense with that part of the program tonight. Just call it a night. No, we couldn't do that. Couldn't do that, Mary. So, Mary, it's your turn. Pay back. Come and take the podium.
I am absolutely humbled, and most of you know I don't humble easily. It is a thrill for me to look out and see 200 plus of my absolute best friends, good persons, and dear hearts. And yes, I was the second woman. How fortunate I am to be a Rotarian. How fortunate I am to be among so many special, incredible people who give so much to our community. And I could begin naming names, but I wouldn't leave a soul out of here. I'm the luckiest person in the world to be working as an assistant state attorney under the leadership of Willie Meggs. Willie's motto in my life is do the right thing for the right reason. And all of you do the right thing for the right reason. I'm fortunate to be among my Westminster Oaks neighbors. And guys, there's a joy about getting to the age of 62. Now clearly I'm not 62. I'm 71 and very proud of that, okay? But 62 is what you gotta be to get in. And the joy is, you both gotta be 62. So those of you who've gone out and gotten trophy wives, I'm sorry, but both of you gotta be 62 at least. I find that joyful. And I'm Roman Catholic, but I love the Presbyterian way. I'm delighted that my family is here, so many of my brothers and sisters, and so many of my extended family. And I really consider Rotary to be part of my family. All of you that dug deep and became sponsors of this event. And what I am so happy to tell you is that together we netted over $18,000 on behalf of over 20 incredible good causes. And I hope you look at the program, and one of the ones you'll see is the New Start Scholarship Fund at Tallahassee Community College. And I'd be remiss to tell you that we have absolutely finessed fundraising at TCC. You're sitting out there, Mary can't ask me for $1,000, I ain't coming up. Now doesn't you know the economy is lousy? But we got a new plan. Think about it. Only $25 a month. And TCC will invoice you. They'll take it from your MasterCard, your Visa, your debit card. There's a way to become part of the new hope. And yes, I am prosecuting juveniles, but it's the only place. And a good friend of mine, who's a judge, who actually went to FSU with my son Joe. And when I moved to the juvenile area, He met me in the hall and he said, Mary, I'm so pleased you're doing juvenile. Because he said, when you're in felony, you're doing toxic waste disposal. But when you're with children, you have a chance to turn their lives around. And as fellow Rotarians, as friends of ours, as that $18,000 tells you that Rotary cares deeply about changing the course of not only this country, but beyond. The kinds of things Rotary does for polio, the kinds of things we do internationally, I am privileged to be a fellow Rotarian. I realize it's been a long night for all of us, but can you believe it's been a longer night for me? I mean, these stories were intriguing. Some of them may have been true. Some of them were exaggerations. Some of it was slander. And some of it was outright defamation. But I particularly want to thank one special person here, besides our marvelous roasters, our roast committee, John Harris, John Dombrowski, just incredible people. But my brother David said it. If St. Joseph could stand up, St. Joseph, on June 30th, 2012, Joe and I will have been married 50 years. He is my best friend, my lifelong partner. And he said the most romantic thing right after we got married. He said, Mayor, I will never forget our anniversary. And I puffed up thinking, wow, I mean, he's handsome, he's wonderful, wow. And I said, well, why do you think you won't forget our anniversary? It's the end of the fiscal year. You think I lied? This is not. Joe will tell you honestly, he said that. And he never did forget that it was our anniversary. I want to acknowledge that my good friend John Dombrowski called me today. And he said, for God's sake, Mary, make it brief. It was my terrific performance 4 years ago that alerted him and another zinger who said, give Mary the microphone and that half an hour session will be an hour. But I do want to thank each of you for joining us tonight. It is an absolute privilege to be among so many wonderful, giving, caring human beings. I am fortunate to be part of the largest family in terms of my 8 siblings, our own children, the people that each of you represent. I want each of you to look down at your plates, and hopefully you still have a fork. Do you have a fork? If you don't have a fork, would you pretend you have a fork? Bring your fork up. Let me see it. Raise it high. And declare me done. Thank you all so very much. Thank you so much.
Has a special presentation.
Mary, you know how important the New Start Endowment is to our club and to many of us as individuals here, and we just think it's great that you've started something to help kids be able to continue their education despite an error in judgment that they may have made. So we have a check to present to you for $1,000 to the endowment.
Wow. Thank you. from the bottom of my heart, thank you on behalf of the young people who may have made a mistake, and because of that mistake, they no longer qualify for bright futures or take stock in children. But because of your efforts, and I want to thank Jim Murdaugh and Robin Johnston and all of you that have been part of this, but this check, which I will turn over to Robin, he won't let me leave the building. This check brings to a marvelous total of $153,400 on behalf of an endowment fund to create a new start for Tallahassee's kids who've made mistakes. And if you don't think this means something, look at your own lives, look at your children's lives, look at your cousins' lives, and haven't we all made a mistake? But thank God we all weren't caught. Thank
you. Despite all our apprehensions, that was really good. And all I want to say is, good persons, dear hearts, have a nice evening and a safe trip.